Hello, and welcome to Leading Inspired Learning, a Strive podcast.
Okay, well, welcome to Leading Inspired Learning, a Strive podcast. I'm thrilled to welcome Carolyn Little in the hot seat.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me.
I feel like you've been avoiding me for a number of years, Carolyn. So I've trapped you.
You've got me. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. So welcome.
Thank you.
We're thrilled to have you.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to chat all things All Kids Belong today. And you. First, I think let's talk about you.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
Put you on the hot seat.
Okay.
Tell
what would
us
you like to know?
You. Well, you're still relatively new. I mean, it's been a year, but you're relatively new to your role, but you've been with All Kids Belong for a while.
Yes, I have been with All Kids Belong, since 2003. So that puts us at 23 years?
Yeah.
So 23 years with All Kids Belong, and I am a year into my role as program manager as of March 1st. So
amazing.
Yeah.
And were the other 22 years spent as a resource consultant?
Yes. So my first couple of years, I was part-time on the team in the London area.
Yep.
And then in 2006, when we got the special needs resourcing out in St. Thomas Elgin, I went out there full time, and so spent most of my time out in St. Thomas.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we've had the pleasure of working together for a number of years.
Yes.
Which has been great. And you, what do you like to do outside of being awesome at All Kids Belong?
Well, I mean, sometimes right now there's a lot going on there, so not a lot of time outside.
There isn't.
No, I mean, I'm pretty quiet. I love hanging out with friends and family and doing things like that. And I am in school right now, so I'm taking some courses. So, spend a lot of time having to work on that. I'm sure you know that as well, how to balance the two. But I'm.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what? It's funny. I sit here and I think, when you go into workshops or you do different things, and, they always ask you, like, what's one thing that nobody knows about you or whatever. And I'm thinking, oh gosh, Allie's going to ask that. And I'm be like, I don't know. Like,
I'm really putting you on the spot today.
You're really putting me on the spot. But yeah, I don't know. I love what I do. I love the field. I did that right out of high school, right into ECE, the sector, the field. I just absolutely love it. And I'm passionate about it.
You are.
So
yeah.
It's,
That's good though.
It's been a journey.
Yeah. So let's talk All Kids Belong.
Okay.
So it's similar to our current structure in that we are, like, Strive is currently housed within Child Reach.
Right.
Similarly, All Kids Belong is kind of housed within Marymount.
Yes.
Do you want to talk a little bit about how that works?
So I guess how that works is our program is one of the programs that is run out of Marymount that enables us to be able to share financial, HR, all of those
fun things,
extras or whatever. So we can concentrate on what it is that we do. And we've been with Marymount since the beginning. So 28 years that we've been with Marymount.
Wow.
So,
And so it's a really positive relationship and dynamic that you've got going on there, which is beautiful.
Yeah. Like I said, we've been there for a long time.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've grown with Marymount, and it enables us also to, with the families and the children that we work with, it enables us to connect them with all of the great programs that Marymount runs as well. So, so that's been a benefit as well, right? Being part of that community.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many really great programs that Marymount offers. It's great that you can kind of not capitalize. That's not the right word.
No, but it enables us to make those connections for those families, right? And support them as best we can. So.
Which is wonderful. So your team, how many resource consultants do you have on your team?
Okay, so in London, Middlesex, we have 15 resource consultants. And we currently have 3 enhanced facilitators.
Okay.
In St. Thomas Elgin, we have 3 resource consultants.
Okay. So what is a resource consultant?
Oh, well, a resource consultant, our role is to go out into the licensed childcare centers, before and after school programs, summer camp programs. We also support early ons. And we are there to provide, I always say, a spectrum of services.
Yeah.
We are what I would also call generalists, right? So we're not a specific or focused therapist, like a speech therapist or something like that. We would be generalists.
Yeah.
So, and we go in and help support all of the children in the programs.
Yes.
And we are there to support any children that might have some special needs, according to the ministry guidelines and what special needs entails. But yeah, and we're there to support the children. We're there to support the educators, because they play a big role in all of this, right? So, and, when I say we're generalists, or we sort of work on this spectrum, we can go in and do something like, an educator comes to us or a director comes to us and says, my toddler room is a little bit chaotic right now and there's lots of fighting going on. Yeah. Can you come in and observe and give us some strategies to help with that? Yeah. It could be that, again, the director comes to us and says, we have a child that's enrolled that is in a wheelchair and has limited speech, and how can we integrate them into the program and make them part of our community here? So, like I said, it could be something really general. Yep. It could be something really specific. Right. We also have the ability to do some screening and some assessments, developmental and social emotional. But again, we are not going in and doing any diagnosing whatsoever. Right. Want to make that clear. Yes. That's not our job. Our job is to go in and do those observations, potentially do screens or assessments, and look at some areas that there may be a need, and then we can help that family follow through with resources in the community. Right. So let's say we're noticing there's a speech and language delay. Yep. We know that we can refer them to TikTok. Yeah. Right. Yep. Or for different needs like that. So we are a resource.
You are.
Right.
Absolutely. A resource consultant that's not the word, but correctly named.
Yes.
Resource consultants.
Yes.
You are there to additionally support resources.
Yes. And I mean, and that can also include, we create tip sheets. We create like other like professional learning resources, or that's not the word I'm looking for. I mean, it is the word I'm looking for, but there's another, anyways, in putting together those kinds of things to share with the programs as well. Sometimes we're able to provide some different equipment and materials, depending on the needs and what we have available to us. Right. And if we don't have it, then we can make recommendations to say, hey, this could be something that would work really well in your program, that sort of thing. Are
all of the resource consultants you have in your team RECEs? And what additional kind of schooling or training do you have to become a resource consultant?
So the majority do have their RECE in combination with their resource consultant certificate.
Okay.
I know that I think that's what it's called now. I know when I did it years ago, I think mine actually says resource teacher / early interventionist. Okay. Right. I did mine with Seneca years ago.
Just a couple.
But yes, the majority of them have that combination, and that is a required combination. Okay. That we look for. Yeah. We do have some consultants that have other education
Yep.
as well, developmental service worker. I know that we have a couple that have Bachelor of Art degrees. I think we even have one that has a master's degree in the area, in this similar area.
Yeah.
But the majority of them are the RECE /
RC combo.
resource
Yeah.
combo.
Interesting.
Mhm.
Is I guess we don't know now. We should Google, but is the resource consultant certificate or the resource, is that like a 1-year certificate type program? Is that what you did after your?
Mine was 2.
Okay.
And I know that they have changed the certificate program, but I think it hasn't changed a lot.
Right.
I know that Fanshawe used to have it, but I don't think Fanshawe has it anymore. And a lot of the programs are now online, like available online, right?
Yeah.
When I did mine,
Yep.
I had to drive into, because I used to live north of Toronto, I had to drive into the Seneca College campus there. At Finch and 404 or whatever it was, right? But the majority of them seem to be online now.
Yeah. Which is great, but there's pros and cons.
There's pros and cons.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, I know I had like 2 placements that I had to complete for mine.
Interesting.
So,
so there's still that
they're still
component.
doing that where there's 2 placements.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And so then the enhancement facilitators.
Mhm.
What's the difference between an enhancement facilitator and a resource consultant?
So the enhanced facilitators, they don't carry a caseload.
Okay.
Right? They don't carry a caseload of children in centers. They are a support, an enhanced support that the resource consultants are able to send out into their programs. And it could be for something really specific. So I know, for instance, to give you an example, one of our enhanced facilitators is trained in G-tube feeding. So if a center has a child who has a G-tube and needs some guidance on how to work with that, then the enhanced facilitator would be booked to go out, do some of that training, and then
support
that way.
That makes sense.
They could also be asked to go out a lot of times if a classroom is struggling or educators are struggling with a particular child, then they would be out there to do some observations, to do that support, to model for the educators in the classroom. And what we like about that is because we also provide program assistance funding, which I'm sure you'll ask about.
I will.
But with the enhanced facilitators, they can work really closely with the resource consultant in providing that specific support that's needed, right? And they can work together.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, they don't stay in a particular program for a long period of time.
Right.
It's temporary. But again, depending on the needs.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you mentioned it.
Yes,
program
I did.
assistant.
Yes.
I think it is and was my entire career the biggest misconception.
Right.
Was that when centers get program assistant hours, they get, and some centers call it, an AKB staff.
Yes.
And then oftentimes that AKB staff, and I'm using in air quotes, is the thought is that they are there to support a child one-on-one.
Right.
All of that is wrong.
Correct. I think so with our program assistants. So yes, we provide funding to programs to hire a program assistant, which we like to say is an extra set of hands.
Yep.
There we are using those air quotes, but that extra set of hands to help support a classroom.
Yeah.
We understand that there are some situations where, again, depending on the needs, that might look a little bit like a one-to-one, but it is not a one-to-one. We cannot say it's a one-to-one. We are not giving those hours to provide a one-to-one.
Mm-hmm.
So the hope always is when that program assistant is put into a classroom, that all of the educators in that room, if there are specific strategies, if there are goals, like anything specific to do with an individual child, that everybody is versed in that, and everybody is taking an opportunity to
build in relationship with that child
and be
support.
that support. Right.
Yeah.
So that is always the goal. So yeah, it's one of those, I feel like, again, we're being a little bit of a myth buster, right? That we hear that all the time. Oh yeah, I work for AKB.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm an AKB person. Actually,
no.
You are an employee of the center that you
are
are working at, right? And so yeah, it's we've created actually a couple of teachable courses
online,
that people can take with our online training that go through that whole program assistant. What is the role? What does it entail? All that sort of stuff, right? So we really encourage programs that if they are bringing somebody on and they're saying, oh, you're coming in as the program assistant to help in this classroom, then, they can direct them to those courses as well. And again, the resource consultant is there to help support that as well. One of the pieces too with the program assistants is that they are not counted in ratio.
That was going to be my next myth.
Yes.
So they are technically an employee of the organization that they work for. However, they aren't in ratio.
They aren't, they shouldn't be counted in a ratio. And again, we know that it happens a lot, and totally understand with,
the staffing crisis that we know exists.
Exactly. And so we know that person will probably be the first one that gets pulled from this and gets put somewhere else where they're needed. So, but that's one of the reasons why that person wouldn't be counted in ratio when they're doing those program assistant hours, right? But yes, we do know that we're going to be flexible with all of that.
Yes.
But because staffing is really hard.
Really hard.
Yeah, right now. So,
and I also think it's important to note how programs get program assistant hours.
Right.
Because it isn't just like you get some hours and you get some hours. There's a system in place.
That's right. No, we're not Oprah.
I wish, right?
We can't just hand them out.
If we could, though.
I know. See, you know what? And that's so hard, because especially when I was in the role as a resource consultant, there were so many situations where I was like, I really wish I could do this.
Yes.
But because you're limited with your budget, there is a certain budget that we have to abide by. And so that's going to impact it. But the way that programs can access the program assistant funding is the resource consultant would meet with the director. So the director or supervisor would reach out to the resource consultant to make that request. There are a couple of forms that we ask them to fill out, reasons for why you're looking for the program assistant, what is the support for, all that kind of thing. And then there is also paperwork that we fill out when we look at the contract. And so, we gather specific information around the needs and what's going on. And then the resource consultants collect all of those, and they come in, and then we look at we meet as a committee, and we look at all of the different factors, all of the different needs, what's out there, and then the hours are distributed. Right. So there are certain criteria that need to be met in order to get the hours, but essentially it's that sort of discussion between the program and the resource consultant to determine what the needs are.
The other myth that I think maybe we can bust or chat about that goes along with this is the more children I have signed on with AKB, the more hours we will receive for funding.
And it's, again, there is specific criterion, and just because it's not necessarily a numbers, right? It's the needs. It's the needs of the children. It's the needs of the program and the educators, and that's what it's based on, because you could have a center that has several children with needs that they would be looking for hours for. But if you look at the actual needs, it may not be as I don't want to say intense. That's not the word I'm looking for, but it may not be as high as like a center that maybe has one or two, but the needs of those children could be extremely high. Right. So, we look at all
the
of
factors.
And
it's not just a numbers game.
Right. And I guess in some ways it is hard because we are looking for children that are involved with our program, right? That are part of AKB, that AKB is supporting. But again, it's not just picture. About those individual children, right? Because it's not a one-to-one. It's not a, right? Which we've already covered. So that, we try our best, and we're not going to, be able to do, like I said, everything because we are limited with our budget, but we do the best that we can. And we're always the resource consultant is always in constant conversation with the educators, with the director.
It's a relationship, right?
Yeah, like it's exactly right. And, and if things change, because that's the other thing too, we may do a contract and it may be for 6 months, but we know in that 6 months, things can change. Right. Children can leave, new children can arrive, needs can change.
Absolutely.
So, it's always about sort of that relationship and continuing to have that conversation about it.
Yeah. So if I am an educator working in a, let's say, preschool room, and I suspect there's a child in my program that potentially may be on the spectrum or is exhibiting some behaviors that are similar to those with autism. My parents haven't said anything to me. I'm noticing some things. What should my next step be in order to best support that child?
So we would encourage the educators. There is a resource consultant assigned to every program, right? So they are available. They will be in there. But if you have some suspicions, you're curious, you're concerned about a couple of things, the best way to probably do that is to reach out to your director or your supervisor and let them know, and then they will connect with the resource consultant. Because yes, there is somebody assigned to every center. You may not, as an educator though, if you haven't had any children in your classroom, so you may not be as familiar as to who it is. So connect with your director supervisor and then they can connect with the resource consultant and start that process. We would go in and do some observations, but the biggest thing is if we're going to start observing or working with individual children, then, we obviously have a release of information to, form that we want parents to sign, because we want parents to be aware that this is happening and this process is starting, right? I mean, like I said earlier, we can go in and do just general observations in a classroom. It may not be about a specific child. It could be that, I've got 2 or 3 that are biting in my toddler room. What are some suggestions, right? But once we start getting into more specifics, then there's a process to that whole thing. But really, as an educator, your first step is to connect with your supervisor or director, who can then connect with the resource consultant and get the ball rolling.
And I remember experiencing, and I'm sure you have a lot of, in those situations, in our little hypothetical scenario here, that the parents don't want to release or sign on, as it's commonly referred to, with All Kids Belong, because they don't think there's anything wrong.
Right.
And then that would be where the resource consultant can continue to come in general observations. But then what? So how do we push isn't the right word.
Right.
How do we have these difficult conversations to get the families to sign on so that we can support that child the best?
Right. And that can be difficult.
Really difficult.
But totally understandable from a parent's perspective, right? So we wouldn't push hard on that, but I think that we are still able to go into the classroom and support the educators and talk about strategies in general and how to support and sort of be there through the process. And this is a great example of why it's so important for educators to have the relationships with the parents, because if they can develop that relationship, then they can continue to keep that conversation going. You know, there are going to be some situations where families are adamant. No, thank you. I don't want, involvement or anything like that. But to me, it comes down to anything. If the relationship isn't there, then you won't get anywhere with that. So as a resource consultant, we would really be supporting those educators to continue to build that relationship. Sometimes we can give like some of our resources where we've done that before, where, let's say it's a speech and language issue. We might have a couple of handouts on just some general strategies on working on speech and language, right? So sharing those with the educator, who could then share with the family, right? And talk to them about those kinds of things. We are always open to, as well, to sit down and just have a conversation with a family. And even at the end of that conversation, if they still decide it's not what they want,
that's okay.
We're there to do that. And that's okay too.
I think that what we hear the most in terms of requests for professional learning, in terms of the struggles of the early years sector at the moment is, and again, my famous air quotes, I've talked about this a lot, but these challenging behaviors.
Right.
I've mentioned this on the podcast before too. I have heard educators say, I have 7 behaviors in my classroom, labeling children as behaviors as negative.
Right.
And, we talked about the toddlers biting. That's a behavior. Yes. But we also know about, preschool rooms that are being trashed on the regular, that children are really unable to participate fully in the programs as they are existing.
Right.
You said once in a meeting.
We've had this conversation lots.
Honestly, it was, I wanted to just snaps right away as soon as you said it. But do you remember what you said? Do you want to repeat it?
You go ahead, because I think I know exactly what. Anyways,
you said something to the effect of the number of children situations in AKB's caseload would go down significantly if the educators were better equipped.
Right.
And I think I'm glossing over it because I think you said a little more bluntly than that.
Well, and I was speaking from my experience as a resource consultant, right? And what I was experiencing with my caseload at the time. And I I mean, I think that we can say that other consultants on the
Yes.
team would be finding the same thing. But yes, I was getting a lot of requests to come into classrooms because educators were struggling with quote unquote behavior. And when I sort of sat back and looked at it, it wasn't the child.
Yeah.
Right? It was the environment. It was the educator. You know, and when we sit here and we say challenging behavior, who is it challenging to? Who is it challenging for?
Not the child.
It's not the child. The child is actually communicating with you that
loudly sometimes
something is not going right for them.
Yeah.
They are dysregulated. They are impacted by so many different things. And we know that that's the only way that they're able to communicate most of the time. Right.
Yeah.
So I think that, in just that ability to, for educators to step back and reflect on, well, hang on a second, right? Like,
what am I doing?
What am I doing?
What can I own in this moment?
Exactly. And so, and I think that at the time too, our team has done a lot of training through the Merit Center with Dr. Stuart Shanker in self-reg.
Mm-hmm.
So I was probably, sort of knee deep in the middle of that, that's the stuff that I love. Like that really, really spoke to me and really, advised my practice, right? And what I was doing. But it is that whole idea that we need to look at what it is that we're doing and reframe that behavior, right? It's that saying, children aren't giving you a hard time. Yeah. They're having a hard time. Yeah. And being able to look at something and reframe that behavior and say, hang on a second. Yeah. This is actually what could be going on, not this. So, a lot of what we do when we go into programs is, that's why we want to do a lot of that observation. We want to do a lot of that, building relationships with educators, because we'll go back to that. Because again, if I don't have a relationship with an educator in a classroom, it's not going to matter what I say, what I suggest, that sort of thing. So really working on that piece and then supporting them to step back and say, hey, there's lots more. And that, again, not just the self-reg, but the other piece that we are really focusing on at AKB is universal design for learning.
That's going to be my next question. Yep. Look at you. You don't need me here to host. It's just the Carolyn show.
So we've been doing a lot of training on the whole universal design approach. So because again, if we look at things from that perspective, and if we encourage educators in classrooms to look at things from that approach and from that perspective, we would see a change in a lot of things that are happening. Our team has been doing some training with CAST, but the most exciting thing is we did get Shelley Moore.
We did.
Right. So Shelley Moore came out. She did her 3 sessions. We recorded 2 of the 3. So we've got to get that out.
That's on our to-do list.
Yes. Yeah. We've got to get that out and get that out to the community. But like all those Shelley Mooreisms, right? Like when she talks about ramps and chairs, or her unicorns, her bats and the bus, and all that sort of stuff. So we've really been focusing on, when we're out and about in the centers, that that we're looking at it from that perspective. Absolutely. And I know that there's a lot of talk around tiered services. And when we look at what we do at AKB, we do that tiered service. We just haven't formalized it yet.
It's not labeled that way.
It's not labeled that way. So, but I mean, we're looking forward to the future and what we can do to evolve our program, and, doing that universal supports, I think, is so important.
Yeah.
Because, to go back to sort of what you started with, if all of that is in place, if we're able to teach our educators that, if we're able to support our educators to provide, those environments in their programs, then there probably would be less children, or we could, if we need to, focus on some of those really high needs, medically fragile, those children, as well as, the others.
All of that behavior group.
Yes. And, I know it comes down to maybe semantics or language, but I mean, and I myself don't like to refer it to that either, right? Yeah. So it's let's rephrase this. Let's reframe it.
Totally.
How do we move forward with that? So
yeah, I think that, realistically, if all of everything you just talked about was in place in a lot of these programs, the best thing is we could both of us could work ourselves out of a job.
Well, yeah,
because, if all these things were in place, we wouldn't be needed as much as we are to build capacity and to support special needs resourcing, which we won't get there.
No,
but that's, in a dream scenario, we're working to build capacity, both of us, in different but similar ways, so that educators don't need us anymore.
Right.
I mean, but there's lifelong learning, all that. So you'll always need us.
Yes.
But I think it is this idea of, the struggles are real. We know, the workforce, we know the wage, we know there are so many barriers. We know educators are working multiple jobs. We know they're tired. We know they're burnt out.
Yeah.
We know that 8 preschoolers to 1 educator is a lot.
Right.
I would argue 5 toddlers to 1 educator is more.
Yes.
But we understand the realities of this situation, but we also know that these educators are wonderful.
Yes.
They are doing this work because they genuinely care about children and families.
Yes.
And it's so beautiful. And this work we do every morning when I drop my daughter off at childcare, I'm just, these educators are just the most wonderful humans.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy to drop her off there every morning. And she's so happy to get dropped off there every morning. And it just, this is the hardest job. And I honestly thought that, post-pandemic world, the world would have seen how essential childcare is and how essential the work that we do is.
Right.
But it somehow didn't make it through the pandemic.
Right. Yeah.
And so I think there's still a lot we need to do. And I think there's a lot we need to appreciate about this sector. And we know that you're working hard. We know you don't want to have a room trash. We know you want to help that child.
Exactly. Yeah.
How can we, in both of our works and collaboratively, continue to support those educators in that?
And I think there's lots that we can do.
Yeah.
I think that, I think that there is just so much potential. Yes. Like you said, we collaborate, but I think there's even more potential for us to really come together and be that team that can support the educators and building their capacity and
absolutely,
building them up. But I do agree, our educators are wonderful.
Yeah.
And you don't choose this field just because, right? Like you talked about wages and everything.
Yeah.
You choose it for a reason. And, we can see that when we go out into centers and, work with these educators. But to me, again, it all goes back to relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It's building that relationship and taking the time to provide support, to model, to mentor, to do, all these things. And I think that's the one thing that I do really like about the job as a resource consultant is we have that ability to be out there in the centers and to be able to do that. Right. Yeah. So yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
We've talked about, just hinted a few of the collaborations we've had. You had Dr. Shelley Moore come, so we were able to work together to support the registration and the rollout of that, which was a huge success. Honestly, one of my favorite PLs from 2025.
I know. We need to get her back.
I know. It's on our list.
Yeah. And
in person?
Yes.
Like, she was so dynamic via Zoom. I can only imagine what she would be like in person.
I do have to tell you, I also did a consultation session with Dr. Shelley Moore.
I'm jealous.
Yep. Great. We had a great conversation. It was a great conversation. But anyways, we need to get her back. We need to get her back.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Carolyn sits on our Strive Advisory Committee. We work really collaboratively. We've been working together as our community animators are going out into programs for mentorship. Yep. So we're just like little besties behind the scenes, working together, because I think there is some not overlap, because it's not a duplication, but there is a lot of collaboration that happens.
Right.
We've got the systems in place to roll out the PL. We want to make sure it's matching what you're seeing and what the resource consultants are seeing in program.
Right.
So we're working together from that perspective. We're hearing the voices of the resource consultants through Carolyn at professional learning committee tables to make sure that those messages are coming kind of wrap around.
Right.
From all sides of things. So it's really exciting that we've been able to build in such a strong relationship and continue to support the programs as best we can from kind of all angles.
For sure.
As the community animator mentorship program is rolling out, it's new, it's still a pilot. So we're working really collaboratively to make sure there isn't a duplication of service, that we're making sure we're partnering and aligning. And you kind of alluded to that in that dream world that we're building, that we have kind of the supports from all angles, the pedagogical supports, the special needs resourcing consultant supports. Like there are so many angles that we can kind of work together to support. And in the dream world, they won't need us at all, but we'll still be here.
We're still going to be here. Exactly. We'll still be here because, we want to be a part of it.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
Well,
thank you for all the work that you do, to your whole team for all the work they do.
Yes,
I know their caseloads are large.
Yeah.
There are more and more children and educators that need support every single day.
Yeah. I think last year we supported over, I want to say 700 children in London, Middlesex. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's
significant.
Yeah. Wow. So,
well, thank you for all the work you do. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me
and joining me in this conversation. Yep. I'll do some additional research about the program, because I feel like we talked about the resource consultant program, certificate program, and we'll share some resources in the
because like I said, it's been such a long time since I've been out of it. I mean, we do have resource consultant, we have students come and do their placements with us, and like I said, I'm pretty sure the program's still 2 years. You've got a couple of placements that you have to complete with however many courses, but they all seem to be doing them online. So
we'll dig in a little bit and provide some links in case folks are interested in what that looks like and supporting the special needs resourcing side of things. Oh, I have one more question.
What's that?
The term special needs.
Yes.
I feel like over the years, the appropriate terminology continues to change and evolve.
Right.
At one point in my career, it was children with exceptionalities.
Right.
In the last little bit, in some of the PL we've developed, we've talked about disability first language coming back and being the priority. So is special needs the appropriate term?
So that is the term that is used by the ministry, by all of our governing bodies, right?
Yep.
They are still using special needs. So we will continue to use special needs because that
is what's
expected.
Yep.
I personally tend to lean more towards diverse. I really like diverse needs. Right? Because again, that can entail so much.
Right.
And I wonder too, like if we get into diagnoses and all that kind of stuff, that's, I think when you hear special needs or when you think about like our program from that perspective, a lot of people are thinking, well, there has to be a diagnosis or there, has to be something. And that's not always the case. Right. Because, there are lots of diverse needs out there, right?
Yeah.
You could have a little one that is experiencing some kind of shift or change in the family dynamic. Right. And for a period of time, they may need some extra support. Yeah. Right. So
that is a diverse need.
That's a diverse need.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's sort of where my brain is right now, is that, yes, I know that, ministry states special needs. We are called special needs resourcing.
Yep.
Right?
SNR.
Yep. And that's, that hasn't changed yet. Okay. But I think when we do a lot of our, like if we're speaking to people or if we're even doing some of our own professional learning, we'll talk about diverse needs, right?
Makes sense.
So,
okay. I wanted to make sure because I feel like it's one that is ever changing and ever slightly changing. It was a time it was child first language and then it was disability first language and special needs was out and other things were in. And it's something that I think, we want to do the best we can in the language that we use and how we're referring to things.
Right.
But it's a complex issue.
It is. And, just to go to that language piece too, like I find that a child is a child first.
Yes.
So it's a child with, it's not a, I always think
autistic child or child with autism.
Right.
That's the child first versus the disability first languaging. Yeah.
Right. And I think that again, a child is a child first and they're all unique and they're all individual. Yep. And so that's important too.
It is. Yeah. And they're all in wonderful hands with our early years community right now in the childcare centers.
Yes, they are.
It is a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Yeah. And I've been really lucky moving into this role because, as I said earlier, I spent the majority of my time with AKB in St. Thomas Elgin, which is a wonderful community. Yes. Love that community because it is a little bit smaller. Yeah. And so we have some really great relationships out there. But coming to London and being able to learn more about London and all the wonderful programs here in London and Middlesex and, really gaining all of that. That's been a wonderful experience for me as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, personally, I feel very spoiled about the childcare center that my children have been involved in and going out to centers and seeing all the wonderful work that's happening. There's such incredible educators and teams and centers and resource consultants in there. Yeah. Just doing some hard but important work.
For sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for joining me, Carolyn.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for listening. You can connect with us on Instagram at Leading Inspired Learning Pod or on our website at striveswo.ca/podcast. I would love to have you tell a friend or colleague about this podcast. Thanks again for listening. Please join us next time.